All right, today we're jumping into something pretty big, a pitch for what might just be the next wave in social media. We're going to break down the source material for a project called BeZhas. The whole idea? To build a social ecosystem that puts power back in your hands. And yeah, we'll be looking at it through the lens of an investment opportunity in this new world of Web3. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the big problem BeZhas is trying to fix. Then, we'll get into their solution and the Web3 tech making it all happen. After that, we'll dive into the investment side of things, and we'll wrap up with their vision for a future run by the community itself. So let's start at the beginning. Why does something like BeZhas even need to exist? Well, the core idea here is that the internet as we know it, especially our social platforms, is just broken. And this quote from their own materials? Wow, it really nails it. The platforms we scroll through every single day, they weren't actually built for you. They were built on a model that makes money off of you. Your information, your content, your attention. You're not the customer, you're the product being sold. So how does that work? Well, it all kicks off with exploiting your data. I mean, every single click, every like, every conversation, it's all scooped up and sold off to the highest bidder. It powers this massive, multi-billion-dollar industry that you never even see. You're not the customer in this equation. You're the raw material. And then you've got the whole issue of censorship and control. These black box algorithms that nobody understands, they're deciding what you see and what you're even allowed to say. It creates these echo chambers and gives a tiny handful of companies an absolutely huge amount of power to control the conversation and, frankly, to silence people. On top of all that, this whole centralized setup is a giant security nightmare. I mean, think about it. All of our private info, our conversations, everything, it's all sitting on these central servers. That makes them a massive target, just waiting for a huge data breach or, for someone to snoop on it. And last but not least, the economy is just plain unfair. The creators, the people making the actual stuff that keeps us all coming back, they get peanuts. Just a tiny slice of the pie. So what's the bottom line here? The system isn't just broken by accident. It's built from the ground up to take value from you and the creators, not to give you power. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a pretty big one. So what's the fix? Well, that's where BeZhas comes in. And look, this isn't just about launching another social media app. It's about building a whole new ecosystem based on 4 key ideas, all designed to do one thing. Put the power back where it belongs, with the users. And these 4 pillars, they all work together to create something totally new. It starts with just being able to socialize freely in a secure place where you actually own your digital identity. From there, you can create and trade your stuff directly with your fans, no middlemen, in a decentralized marketplace. Then, to take it up a notch, you can innovate with AI tools right on the platform. And here's the kicker. You get to help govern the future. You have a say in where this whole thing goes, making sure it always works for the community. I know. That sounds pretty ambitious, right? So how is any of this even possible? Well, the magic ingredient here is Web3. It's this huge technological shift that lets us build the internet in a completely different way. A huge piece of that puzzle is something called a DAO. It stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. The easiest way to think about it is like a company with no CEO. Seriously. There's no board of directors calling the shots. Instead, the users themselves govern it. So, in the world of BeZhas, your B-coins aren't just money, they're your vote. They give you a real, actual say in how the platform grows and changes. And this really gets to the core of it, the difference in who controls your data. In the old system, the platforms own it, they sell it, you're the product. But in the BeZhas model, it's all about self-custody. That means you, and only you, control your digital wallet, your assets, your data. Nobody else can touch it. The whole game changes for creators too. Instead of getting a tiny cut, they can turn their work into NFTs on the blockchain. This lets them cut out the middleman completely and sell straight to their community. Not only that, but they can build in automatic royalties so they get paid every time their work is resold down the line. It's a true peer-to-peer economy. And like we talked about with the DAO, governance gets flipped completely upside down. No more decisions being made behind closed doors by a handful of execs. With BeZhas, the people who hold B-coins, the actual users, the creators, the investors, they're the ones who get to propose new ideas and vote on the future of the platform. And finally, let's talk security. Think about it. A giant centralized server is like a honeypot for hackers. It's one big target. A decentralized network gets rid of that single point of failure. Your identity, your access, it's all tied to something called a secret recovery phrase. It's basically a master key that only you have. It makes the whole system just fundamentally, drastically more secure. Okay, so we've laid out the problem and we've walked through the solution. Now let's get down to the brass tacks of this presentation, the opportunity for you to get involved and help build this thing. So there are 4 different tiers here for getting involved, but the key thing to understand is that this is more than just buying some crypto. It's about becoming a founder. Each level, whether you're a digital pioneer or a founding partner, is designed to give you a real stake in the ecosystem's success. We're talking benefits like early access, bonus B coins, and even a direct role in the foundation. Now, let's talk numbers. The financial model here is all about sustainable growth. The first major goal: 100,000 active users. That's the magic number. Hitting that milestone is what proves the whole concept works, gets us to profitability, and gives us a solid launchpad to really scale up and grab a bigger piece of the pie. So where does your investment go? It goes directly into funding this clear 4-phase roadmap. First up, we build the thing and launch a beta version to iron out all the kinks. Then comes the big public launch and plugging in the marketplace. Phase 3 is when we roll out that awesome suite of AI tools. And for the final phase, we hand over the keys and transition completely to a self-running, community-governed DAO. And all of this, it brings us to the final and, honestly, maybe the most important idea behind this whole project. It's bigger than just tech or money. It really comes down to a fundamental question about how we live our lives online. And that question is pretty simple. Who gets to decide the future of our digital world? Should it be a handful of executives in a boardroom, or should it be the people who are actually using the network, creating on it, and living their digital lives there? The answer from BeZhas is crystal clear: the community. And that's why this is more than just an investment in another tech platform. It's an investment in a core principle, the principle that you should be in control. It's your network, your data, and your future.